OEMs know exactly what enthusiasts want. They have world-class engineers, infinite data, unlimited budgets. They run clinics, they study forums, they talk to customers. They know what people say they want, and yet the cars enthusiasts actually want aren't coming from them. Not from Porsche, not from BMW, not from any manufacturer operating at scale. Because this isn't a design problem, it's a system problem. Now, before we go any further, let's establish something critical. This video is not anti-OEM. The engineers at major manufacturers aren't stupid. They're some of the most talented people in the automotive industry. They understand chassis dynamics, material science, powertrain engineering at levels that small Restomod shops can't match. They have access to simulation tools, testing facilities, and development resources that independents can only dream about. The designers aren't constrained creatively either. Walk through any OEM design studio and you'll see radical concepts, beautiful sketches, ideas that would make enthusiasts weep with joy. The creative talent is there. The vision is there. So, what's missing? Everything around them. Because modern car companies don't build cars for drivers, they build systems that happen to produce cars. And once you understand that distinction, once you see that the car itself is almost a byproduct of a much larger operational system, everything else starts to make sense. The compromises, the safe choices, the slow erosion of the qualities that made certain cars special. It's not that OEMs don't know what enthusiasts want, it's that what enthusiasts want is fundamentally incompatible with what OEMs need to survive as businesses. And that incompatibility starts with something obvious, but goes much deeper than most people realize. Let's start with regulations, because everyone knows about these. Safety standards, emissions compliance, noise limits, crash test requirements. You cannot sell a car in developed markets without meeting them, and they're never going to be static. They get stricter and stricter every few years, pushing manufacturers toward heavier structures, more sound deadening, more electronic controls, more systems managing and filtering the driving experience. But here's what people miss. Regulations don't just limit engines, they limit feel. When you're required to meet pedestrian impact standards, the front end has to deform in specific ways. That affects cooling placement, which affects weight distribution, which affects handling character. When you're required to meet interior noise limits, you add sound deadening, which adds weight and isolation. When you're required to prevent misuse, you add electronic controls that keep drivers from doing anything the regulators consider dangerous. Each individual regulation makes sense. Nobody wants pedestrians killed. Nobody wants excessive emissions. Nobody wants cars that are death traps in crashes. But cumulatively, these regulations push all cars toward sameness, toward safety, toward isolation, toward systems that manage the experience rather than deliver it directly. You don't regulate emotion, so emotion is the first thing to disappear. Next up, scale. OEMs must build tens of thousands of identical experiences. Restomods build dozens of intentional ones. Think about what that means practically. When Singer builds a 911, they're building maybe 50 cars a year. Each one is hand-assembled. Components are individually fitted. If something doesn't feel right during test drives, they adjust it. If a particular steering ratio works better for one client's preferences, they can accommodate that. The entire operation is flexible, artisanal, and human-scaled. When Porsche builds a 911, they're building tens of thousands per year across multiple facilities globally. Every single car needs to be identical. The steering must feel the same in the first car and the 10,000th. The throttle response must be consistent across production runs 6 months apart. Everything must be repeatable, measurable, and consistent. You can't hand-tune a feeling when you're building 80,000 units a year. And it's not just about the assembly process, it's about everything upstream. Suppliers must deliver components that meet exact specifications, every time at scale. Manufacturing processes must be optimized for efficiency and repeatability, not for extracting the last 2% of performance or feel. Quality control must catch defects, which means tight tolerances on anything measurable but no ability to evaluate subjective qualities like steering texture or throttle progression. Scale demands sameness. It demands predictability. It demands that every variable be controlled, every input be managed, every output be identical. And that right there is antithetical to creating something with character. Character comes from variation, from hand tuning, from making small adjustments that can't be specified on an engineering drawing. But scale isn't the only reason OEMs can't build what Restomods can. There's another constraint that shapes every decision they make, one that forces them to design for the worst driver rather than the best one. Liability and risk. When an OEM builds a car, they're not thinking about the enthusiast who will take it to a track day or drive it on empty mountain roads with full attention and developed skill. They're thinking about the worst case scenario: the distracted driver in traffic, the inexperienced operator in bad weather, the person who ignores warning lights and defers maintenance and treats the car carelessly. Because legally, morally, and financially, the OEM is responsible when things go wrong. If the car is too easy to spin, they get sued. If the brakes don't compensate for driver error, they get sued. If anything happens that could have been prevented by another electronic system or warning or intervention, they face liability. So they design defensively. Stability control that intervenes early, traction management that prevents mistakes before they happen, warning systems for everything, steering that's weighted and tuned to be easy and confidence-inspiring for someone who's never driven a performance car before. OEMs design for the least attentive driver. Restomods design for the most engaged one. And that difference in who the car is designed for shapes everything. The steering feel, the throttle response, the amount of information the car communicates, the degree to which it filters or manages the driver's inputs. But even if regulations relaxed and scale wasn't an issue and liability wasn't a concern, there's still one more constraint that makes it impossible for OEMs to build what Restomods can. And this one is purely business. Because here's the fundamental problem. OEMs sell reliability, predictability, and volume. Restomods sell obsession, patience, and scarcity. And these two business models cannot coexist in the same company. Think about what an OEM promises when you buy a new car. It's going to work. It's going to be covered by warranty. It will have dealer support nationwide. It'll retain reasonable value. It won't surprise you with weird quirks or require specialized knowledge to maintain. You're buying into a system, a predictable, reliable, globally supported system. Now, think about what a Restomod buyer is accepting. Multi-year wait times, significant deposits, limited or no warranty, specialized maintenance requirements, the understanding that this is a boutique product built by a small team and that comes with inherent risks and compromises. These are completely different value propositions and they require completely different business structures. If Porsche decided tomorrow to build cars the way Singer does, hand-assembled, individually tuned, limited production, focused on feel over consistency, they would cannibalize their entire business model. Their warranty structure is built around volume and predictability. They can offer comprehensive warranties because they know statistically what will fail and when across thousands of identical vehicles. That doesn't work with hand-built, individually specified cars. Their global lineup depends on cars being fundamentally similar across markets. You can buy a 911 in Germany or Japan or the United States and get essentially the same car. That standardization is what makes global operations possible. Introduce meaningful variation and the whole system breaks. Their shareholder expectations are built around volume growth and margin improvement. Explaining to Wall Street that you're going to build fewer cars at higher prices with longer lead times and greater risk, that's not a conversation any publicly traded OEM wants to have. The problem isn't that OEMs won't build these cars, it's that they can't without breaking themselves. And this is why the Restomod industry exists. Not because OEMs are failing, but because there's a gap between what large-scale manufacturing can deliver and what a certain type of enthusiast wants. a gap that small independent builders can fill precisely because they're not constrained by the system that makes OEMs successful at what they actually do. Restomods exist in a completely different space. They live outside mass production. They bypassed most regulations through limited production exemptions. They replace scale with intention. Singer doesn't need to meet the same crash standards as Porsche because they're not producing enough vehicles to trigger those requirements. They don't need to offer nationwide warranty support because their customer base understands what they're buying. They don't need to optimize for manufacturing efficiency because they're not competing on volume. This freedom from scale, from standardization, from the systems that constrain OEMs is what allows Restomods to prioritize qualities that mass production can't. They can spend 40 hours tuning the dampers on a single car because there's no production schedule pressuring them to finalize specs and move on. They can use materials that would be impossible to source at volume. They can make decisions based on feel rather than data. They can accept variation between builds because consistency across thousands of units isn't the goal. Restomods aren't better because they're smarter, they're better because they're more free. Free from the constraints of regulation, scale, liability, and business models that demand predictability and growth. Free to focus entirely on creating something exceptional for a small group of people who value that exceptionalism enough to wait years and pay premiums. But that freedom comes with built-in limitations. Restomods will always be expensive, always be limited, always be accessible only to a small percentage of enthusiasts. They can never be the solution for the broader market because the moment they try to scale, they become subject to the same constraints that bind OEMs. Which means this divergence between what OEMs build and what Restomods build isn't temporary, it's structural, and it's only going to widen. Restomods don't exist because OEMs failed, they exist because OEMs succeeded at something else entirely. They succeeded at building cars that are safer, faster, more efficient, more reliable, more accessible than ever before. They succeeded at creating global manufacturing systems that can deliver consistent quality across hundreds of thousands of units. They succeeded at meeting increasingly stringent regulations while maintaining profitability and satisfying shareholders. But that success required trade-offs. It required prioritizing measurable capability over subjective feel, consistency over character, safety over engagement, predictability over surprise. And for most buyers, those trade-offs are absolutely worth it. Most people want a car that's safe, reliable, easy to drive, and covered by warranty. They want the OEM value proposition. They want the system to work on their behalf. But for a small group, the people who value driving as an experience rather than a task, who want involvement rather than isolation, who prize character over capability, those trade-offs are unacceptable. They want something the system can't build. And that's where Restomods come in. Not as competitors to OEMs, but as an entirely different answer to an entirely different question. OEMs answer, how do we build the best car for the most people? Restomods answer, how do we build the most engaging car for people who value engagement above everything else? These aren't competing answers. They're parallel ones, serving different markets, operating under different constraints, pursuing different definitions of excellence. And as long as large-scale manufacturing requires the systems and constraints that make OEM production possible, and as long as enthusiasts value qualities that can't be mass-produced, both will continue to exist, diverging further, serving different purposes, each validating the other's existence. The car you can build for 50 people will always be different from the car you can build for 50,000 people. Not better or worse, just different. And understanding why, understanding the systems and constraints and business realities that create that difference, it helps you appreciate both for what they actually are, rather than judging them for what they can never be.